Okay, for those of you who watched my last video, you may have detected that I get really annoyed by lies. And we are being fed lies all of the time by this show of Formula One. And in this video, I'm going to evidence to you using actual data the true scale of the lies that we're being fed. I'm going to show you Brundle's commentary, the lies that Brundle feeds us, and I'm going to show you what the data reflects about that. And we're also going to call into question Mercedes' decision makings in terms of their strategic calls in their sabotage of Lewis Hamilton at the last race. Remember that one where they started Lewis Hamilton on the soft compound tyre? We're going to look into that, and we're going to look at the true level of that decision making. So this weekend, it's the United States Grand Prix. We've just had the sprint race. So this is the classification for that sprint race. As you can see, this is the official FIA document for the provisional sprint classification. They're just providing nobody gets disqualified. We've got two of the fantastic four corrupt stewards from Abu Dhabi. We've got both Gary Connolly and Derek Warwick, two corrupt bastards there. And what we have as the classification, keep saying the wrong word. Max Verstappen won, Carlos Sainz up to second, Norris third, Charles Leclerc fourth. Fifth is George Russell, the man who goes backwards. So qualified in second and finished fifth. And Lewis Hamilton sixth, so qualified seventh. Got a place and came sixth. That was the highlights from that. But the point of this video is to expose the true level of bullshit that we are being fed. So let me just play you something from sprint qualifying yesterday. For those of you that watched my last video, you'll have remembered things like this being said.
And the two Mercedes, Hamilton and Russell.
Soft tyres, of course, now, the mandatory, the faster ones, providing they'll complete the lap. But I understand.
Soft tyres, the mandatory ones, providing they'll complete the lap. Okay, Brundle is saying soft tyres, providing the fastest ones, providing they'll complete the lap. So Brundle's intimating that this tyre compound that they're on now might even struggle to complete a lap. Now there's more. This is more from Brundle concerning those soft compound tyres.
Yeah, I would think also the tyres would, the outlap, they'll go so slowly the tyres wouldn't really be fully up to temperature. He was still struggling with it, wasn't he, through 6 and 7. Here we are down at turn 11 here, but lovely and wide on the way in. Nice arc, pick up the throttle again, a little bit of a traction issue as you take the line of least resistance and the shortest route you can get away with, but you must brake in a straight line. And bang, get all the downshift, now get off the brake pedal, ease the nose into the corner and pick up the throttle. Lovely, one sweet move. Treat the throttle pedal like it's got an egg underneath it. You don't want to brake in some respects and just sweep down.
We've got Lewis Hamilton on the screen as well. 4/10 quicker than George Russell through the first sector alone. 7/10 quicker than Franco Colapinto, the other car out here currently. Colapinto going very slowly out of turn 15. It might have gone off the track and had a bit of a problem. Russell continues on his way, crosses the line, 1:32.8. That's the time to beat. Colapinto's got going again. Green flags are now waving as Hamilton arrives on the scene, and there is the Williams car on the right-hand side.
But Russell a half second faster than Hamilton in the middle sector, so it ended up a very good lap for George Russell.
Yeah, the Mercedes car's trading blow for blow. Maybe you do need to not push too hard in the first sector here and treat your tyres a bit more gently, because
you need to not push too hard and look after those tyres in the first sector. Yeah? This is the soft compound tyre that they're using at the Circuit of Americas this weekend. The soft compound tyre. This is what they're saying about it.
For George Russell.
Yeah, the Mercedes car's trading blow for blow. Maybe you do need to not push too hard in the first sector here and treat your tyres a bit more gently, because you get the better use of them for the next 2/3 of the lap. Round the final corner we go. Hamilton, just the steering input just didn't seem to be what he wanted. crosses the line, half a second down on his teammate.
Yeah, so Russell gave up the first sector through the snake and then got the dividends later on in the lap.
So, because George had taken it easy in the first third of the lap, he got the dividends out of those tyres in the next 2/3 of that lap because he looked after that soft compound tyre. Whereas Lewis, on the other hand, because Lewis thrashed them tyres and was 0.4 of a second up in that first third of a lap, his tyres then dropped off. It was nothing to do with the yellow flag that Lewis Hamilton had to lift because of, and then got his braking point wrong, trying to carry a bit more extra speed into that braking point to try and catch up that bit that he had to lift. That it's nothing to do with that. It's all about the tyres, isn't it, lads? It's all about the tyres. And the fact that George nursed them tyres around the early part of the lap, so they got the performance out of them in the latter part of the lap. And Lewis, while he trashed them on the first first third of the lap, didn't he? That was the problem.
This is turn 1. Oops. Already looking like he was going off-roading a little bit. By the way, the stewards did look into the Colapinto and Gasly incident. No further investigation needed. That was what happened down at turn 12.
That Williams seems a bit prone, doesn't it? As soon as he gets some oversteer, like the back end sliding, and the tyre seems to give up grip very early on. It's like they lose aero performance when they get into what we call yaw, sliding sideways.
And that's going to be very costly there for Franco Colapinto.
Come on, guys. That was not good. Yep, copy Lewis. Yeah, understood.
And I rather get the feeling Lewis Hamilton feels that the timing of his run could prove to be very costly for him as well. At 1:33.3, you'd be surprised if that troubles the top 5, Martin.
Yeah, I mean, it's actually 8,000 slower than he did in SQ2, whereas Russell's found 7/10. So Lewis not happy with that at all. I think he had to really jockey that into the corner, didn't he? No wonder he lost all that time in the middle and towards the end of the lap. The rear tyres.
So we're going back to the tyres again. Yeah, he had to jockey that into the corner. No wonder he lost all that time. Now we're talking about the tyres, Brundle.
We're crying enough. So you need to treat the outlap like you're just heading off to the shops, and then the first part of the lap, do not take the grip the tyres can give you and then use them later on.
He did well, Lewis, there to stay on the white line.
Right. So this is the expert of the sport, Martin Brundle, the presented expert of Formula One, 10 years a driver, 30 years the pundit, presenter, presented expert, telling you, yeah, these tyres, what you have to do with these tyres is you're only going to get, well, 1 lap out of them if you're lucky, right? And actually probably only 2/3 of a lap, because you've got to go easy on them for the first third of a lap, and then you've got the performance for the remaining 2/3, and only George was able to do that because Lewis got it wrong. But you've got to drive that first out lap like you drive into the shops.
And then the first part of the lap, do not crying enough. So you need to treat the outlap like you're just heading off to the shops, and then the first part of the lap, do not take the grip the tyres can give you and then use them later on.
He did well, Lewis, there.
So this is the tyre problem. Now, let's have a look at the tyre situation, Martin. Let's do that, shall we? Well, we have some data, you see, and we have the last race in Singapore, and this is an FIA document. This tells us the compound of tyres that are going to be provided by Pirelli. So the soft compound of tyre was the Pirelli C5 compound. Now let's have a look at this one. If we look on here, what we get from the manufacturer Pirelli, okay, are various compounds of tyres. C1, sorry, C0, C1, C2, C3, C4, C5. These don't include the intermediates or the wet weather tyres. At any Grand Prix, they will select 3 of those compounds, and one will be hard, one will be medium, one will be soft. So, for example, a Grand Prix, they might select C0, C1 and C2, and C0 will be hard, C1 will be medium, C2 will be soft. That will be classified as the soft compound tyre. At that particular race, that would have the red ring around it. C1 would have the yellow ring around it. C0 would have the white ring around it as designated hard in that particular race. At another race, you might have C2 being the hard compound, C3 being the medium compound, C4 being the soft compound. So C2 this time would be the white ring around it, C3 would be the yellow ring around it, and C4 would be the red ring around it. That is the way that these things work. Okay? So there's the intermediate and the full wets. But there is a potential of 6 different tyre compounds for dry running, and they select 3 of them. So, let's have a look at something else. This is again from Pirelli. You can go and have a look at this for yourselves. These are the tyres for the Americas. So, this race, we scroll down and we are here, Singapore, USA. Look at the tyre compounds. The soft compound tyre being used in America is the medium compound tyre that they used in Singapore. The medium compound tyre that they use in Singapore, well, that is now being designated the soft compound tyre for here. And Martin Brundle is telling you, you have to drive the outlap like you're driving to the shops, and then you've got to do the first third of the lap as if you're tiptoeing around in order to get some performance out of the second 2/3. That is what he's telling you. The medium tyre from Singapore. The soft compound tyre from Singapore was a compound of tyre that was even softer. That was the C5 compound of tyre. That was the tyre that has got the least amount of life because it's the soft compound of tyre. That is the compound of tyre that Mercedes started Lewis Hamilton on at Singapore. Talk about setting up a strategy that is going to fail. That is going to fail because you're going to have to pit very quickly because that tyre is going to burn out. Martin Brundle is telling you this medium compound of tyre that they used in Singapore, that they're now using again in the USA, but now it's designated the soft compound of tyre. It's the same compound of tyre. They've just changed the designation, but now Martin's telling you, oh, you can only get 1 lap out of this if you're lucky. Well, the softer compound tyre, why would you start a Grand Prix on that one? If the compound that's harder than it, the medium compound of tyre, at this race you can only get 1 lap out of it. How many laps are you going to get out of a tyre that's even softer, Martin? Let me know what you think in the comments section, please, Martin, you lying bastard. Absolute lying bastard. This is the problem, right? We get lies. Absolute lies. Now, have a look at this one. This is Singapore. Hamilton started on the soft compound of tyre, the C5, okay? Designated the soft compound, C5 red. Who else started on that? Daniel Ricciardo got 10 laps out of it. Hamilton got 17 laps out of his. Now, look at this. The medium compound tyre, the C4 designation, okay, which is the C4 at America this weekend, is the soft compound that Martin Brundle saying, oh, if these tyres will last the lap, right? How many laps could you get out of a C4 compound tyre at Singapore? Well, we've got somebody that's done a 38 lap stint on them on a full fuel load. When you're qualifying for a sprint race, are you carrying a full fuel load? Are you carrying a full 100 kilograms of fuel, and therefore are you likely to be putting all that load through the tyre that's going to scrub them even faster? No, you're not, are you? No, it's all lies and it's all narrative. So what we got at Singapore was 38 laps out of a C4 tyre. 38 laps out of a C4 tyre. We got them lapping at 1:36.49. Okay, 1:36.49. 38 laps. And Brundle is saying, oh, you can only get 2/3 of a lap out of one of these sets of tyres. Somebody's lying to you. Somebody's lying to you. So, again, Singapore preview. This is what it tells you. It gives you all for those of you that like the charts, okay, the ones that will give you an abrasive level of the track and the asphalt grip and asphalt abrasion and all that. Yeah, you'll love that. Go and have a look. You'll enjoy that. 38 laps. Although it's designated medium here, it is C4. Compound 4, but that is the compound that they've designated medium at Singapore, and you're able to do 38 laps. 38 laps from a full fuel load with 100 kilograms of fuel on board. Okay? And this is the thing, the faster cars, the reason why we've got that pace, the faster cars, you've got these cars, Zhou and Bottas, which are just, they're just shit cars, aren't they? Let's be fair, right? So these, the front runners, okay, the faster cars on the grid, they wore that medium compounder tyre, the C4, in the opening laps of the race. And therefore, when we've got this lap time, you've got a lap time of 1:36.49 on a full fuel load. Okay, it's decreasing from full down to half load. Okay, so, but you've not got a fast running car running it on a lighter fuel load. So the lap times aren't reflected. What we've got here, we've got 28 laps of a stint that Yuki Tsunoda did on the soft compounder tyres, but that was at the end of the race. That was when you've got a decreased fuel load. So when you are here, when you've already used over half your fuel load, yes, you can run that softer compound tyre and it will last you through. But when you've got a full fuel load and you're starting on that, that's when you're going to get the maximum amount of tyre wear. Funny that, isn't it? Funny that. C4 lasts you 38 laps in Singapore. Well, let's have a go back to here. And let's go back to, which one is it? So there's C4 for that one. And what are we using in America? Here it is again. United States Grand Prix, 18th to 20th of October. And have a look at this. The soft compound of tyre, now designated red for soft, is the C4. The medium is C3. The hard compound is C2. So C4 is the soft compound of tyre. That Brundle is telling you, oh, you need to drive the outlap as if you're driving to the shops. And then that first third of a lap, you've got to go really slowly to nurse them. And then you get the maximum benefit out of these because they'll only last you one lap if you're lucky. This soft compounder tyre, the C4, that was the C4 was a medium compounder, the yellow compounder tyre at the last race in Singapore. That they got 38 laps out of. Now, somebody's lying to you. Somebody's lying to you, giving you the bullshit, telling you that this soft compounder tyre, the C4 at USA, now, this weekend, will only last you a lap. Somebody is lying to you. This is the sports expert lying to you. If your children are watching this bullshit, right, tell your children you are being fucking lied to by this bastard. Lying bastard put in front of the world to lie. Narrative. Hype job. Hype job. This is damaging. Right? This is filthy lies. Just there to excite the kids. Oh, and all the kids that know nothing, right? That are just, I'm excited by Formula One. I love Formula One. I'm listening to Brundle, so therefore, yeah, the soft compound of tyre, it's only good for one lap. You think so, do you, kids? Yeah, because Martin Brundle said so, and Martin knows, he knows, you don't know, he knows. You're being lied to. You're being lied to by a bastard that is lying to you. And this is the problem in this world. This isn't the only place where we're being lied to by talking heads in the media. So this is an example. Start opening your eyes and being aware that we are being lied to by bullshitters. People like that there needs to be severe consequences. Damaging. Think of the profession that you might be in. Would that be acceptable for you to lie to people in the way that this man does? Absolute filthy lies. That man needs exposing to the entire world for what he is. Needs exposing. Somebody is lying to you. Now, Martin Brundle tells you can't get even one lap out of the C4 tyre that they got 38 laps out of at Singapore with a full fuel load on. But just one qualifying lap with, 20 kg of fuel in it. Oh, yeah, it won't last you that long. What were Mercedes doing? Using the compound of tyre that is even softer, the C5. What were Mercedes doing? Loading the car with 100 kg and sending Lewis Hamilton out there. So please, Mercedes, let me know what you think in the comment section when at the Circuit of Americas, Martin Brundle thinks that the C4 compound of tyre, right, this one here, that at Singapore you could get 38 laps out. Martin Brundle thinks that one at America you can only get one lap out of on 20 kg of fuel. Well, if that's the case, why at Singapore, Mercedes, did you think you could get enough laps to get a decent way into that race on a softer compound of tyre and 100 kilograms of fuel? Are you setting your competitor up to lose? And in doing so, are you actually throwing a race? Are you tanking? Are you actually purposefully throwing away the result for your competitor? Because if you're doing so, I'm going to report you for fraud. Okay, you are manipulating results, and that is defrauding people who bet on the outcome of that event. If people placed a bet on Lewis Hamilton winning the Singapore Grand Prix, then what you've done, you've set him up to fail on purpose by sending him out on a tyre that is destined to need replacing within a few laps, and therefore that's going to put him at a significant disadvantage. He's going to have to pit, he's going to come out on track after the rest of the field has gone through, and then he's going to have to make his way through that, being slowed by that field, whilst the front runners can stay out on there and not be impeded by the cars that are then in front of them, and they'll just pull away. You ruin Hamilton's chances straight away, and therefore that, by what your strategic call is throwing away completely Hamilton's chance at that Singapore Grand Prix. So, Mercedes, if you're going to do the same at the Circuits of America, I'll report you to the betting authorities, those that monitor sport, and therefore, the ones that will monitor spot fixing in cricket, where bowlers will purposefully bowl no balls to order to fix bets. It's like if you're a football team and you've got a game of football and you just play your reserves. Are you giving your team the best chance of winning? What are you doing to your fans? What are you doing to those people that place a bet on the game? Well, you're treating them like dirt. That's what you're doing. That's what Mercedes is doing to the fans of both Mercedes and Lewis Hamilton. And Martin Brundle, the presented expert, is lying to you all. Understand what it is that's happening here. Understand it. Medium compounder tyre at Singapore that they got 38 laps out of. C4, that is the soft compounder tyre. So there you go. C4 was a medium compounder tyre. That is the soft compounder tyre here. C4 at the Circuits of America. Designated red here. Soft compounder tyre. And Brundle is telling you you've got to drive the outlap like you're going to the shops. Somebody's lying. Somebody's lying. And he lied about Abu Dhabi 2021. He didn't think it was mandatory. It's not mandatory, I don't think, but that's normally on a wet day. Will they let the lap runners through? I don't think it's mandatory, but that's normally on a wet day in Belgium. And if they do, how long will they wait? How long will they wait? The safety car, once the last lap car has passed the leader and the safety car will return to the pits at the end of the following lap, Martin. That's how it works. But how long will they wait? Because you're a liar. You're a hype job. You're paid to lie to the world. And for that, there's going to be a consequence. That'll do on this one. Qualifying to come, that's probably, well, it's going to be underway in about 18 minutes' time. So whether this gets uploaded in time, who knows? Who knows? Anyway, enjoy the Grand Prix, enjoy the weekend, and see through the shit. I hope that this channel is helping you see through the bullshit that we are being presented with. Okay? Share it. Make other people aware that we are being lied to continually by this shit show. Anyway, that'll do for now. Thank you for your time.